guys, I'm back. Today I'm going to read 2 Samuel 22 to 24, Proverbs 1 Kings 1 to 3, Proverbs 16, and Psalm 140. Let's get started. And David spoke to the Lord the words of this song on the day when the Lord delivered him from the hand of all his enemies and from the hand of Saul. He said, "The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, and my God, my rock, in whom I take refuge, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold and my refuge. And I save you. You save me from violence. I call upon the Lord, you who is worthy to be praised, and I am safe from my enemies. The ways of death encompass me. Torrents of death encompass me. Torrents of destruction assail me. The cords of Sheol entangle me. The snares of death confront me. In my distress I called to the Lord, and called upon the Lord. To my God I called. From the temple he heard my voice. My cry came to his ears. And the earth reeled and rocked. The foundations and of the earth, heavens trembled and quaked, because he was angry. The smoke went out from his nostrils, and devoured fire from his mouth. The lion caused flame forth from him. He bowed the heavens and came down. Thick darkness was under his feet. He rode on a cherub and flew. He was seen on the wings of the wind. He made darkness around him in his canopy. Thick clouds are gathering with water. Out of the brightness before the coals of fire flamed forth. The Lord thundered from heaven, and the Most High uttered his voice. And he sent out arrows and scattered the lightning and wearied them. And the channels of the sea were seen, and the foundations of the world were laid bare. After he breathed the Lord, at the blast of the breath of his nostrils, he sent from on high. He took me. He drew me out of any water. He drew me from my very strong enemy, from those who hate me, for they were too mighty for me. He confronted me in the day of my calamity. And the Lord was my support. He brought me into a broad place. He rescued me, because he delighted in me. And the Lord dealt with me according to my righteousness. According to the cleanness of my hands, he rewarded me. I have kept the ways of the Lord, and have not wickedly departed from my God. And all his rules were before me, and from his statutes did I not turn aside. I was blameless before him, and I kept myself from guilt. And the Lord has rewarded me according to my righteousness, according to my cleanness in his sight. As the merciful, you show yourself merciful. As the blameless man, you show yourself blameless. With the purifying, you deal purely, and with the crooked, you make yourself seem tortuous. You save humble people, but your eyes are on the haughty to bring them there. Oh, you are my lamp, and my God lights my darkness. For by you I can run against the truth. And by my God I can leap over all. His way is perfect. The word of the Lord proves true. He is a shield for all who take refuge in him. For who is God, the God of the Lord, and who is a rock except our God? The Lord, this God is my strong refuge. He has made my way blameless. He made my feet like the feet of a deer, and set me secure on the high height. He trained my hands for war, so that my arms can bend above bow. And you give me the shield of your salvation. And you gave me, and you jumped on us and made me great. You gave me wide place for my steps under me, and my feet did not slip. I pursued my enemies and destroyed them, and did not turn back until they were consumed. I consumed them. I thrust them through, so that they did not rise. They fell under my feet, for you equipped me with strength for the battle. You made those who rise against me sink under me. You made my enemies turn their backs to me, those who hate me, and I destroyed them. I looked, but there was none to save. They cried to the Lord, but he did not answer them. I beat them high as the dust of the earth. I crushed and stamped them down like a mire of the streets. And you delivered me from strife with my people. You kept me as the head of the nations. People whom I had not known said me. Foreigners came cringing to me. As soon as they heard me, they obeyed me. Foreigners lost heart, and came trembling out of their fortresses. The Lord lives, and blessed be my rock, and exalted be my God, the rock of my salvation. And the God who gave me vengeance, and brought down peoples under me. He brought me out of my enemies. After my enemies, you exalted me above those who rose against me. And you delivered me from men of violence. For this I will praise you, O Lord, among the nations, and sing praises to your name. Great salvation he brings to his king, and shows his love to his anointed, and to David and to his offspring forever. And these are the last words of David, the oracle of David, the son of Jesse, the oracle of the man who was raised on high, the oracle of the God of Jacob, the anointed of the God of Jacob, the sweet psalmist of Israel. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, speaks by me. His word is on my tongue. The God of Israel has spoken. His word is spoken. Rock of Israel said to me, he would not rules justly over men, ruling in the fear of God. He dwells in them like the morning light, like the sun shining forth from on a cloudless morning, like rain that makes grass to sprout from the earth. Oh, does not my house stand as I with God? For he has made me an everlasting covenant, order in all things and secure. He will not cause to prosper. All my help and desire, for worthless men are all like thorns that are thrown away, for they cannot be taken with their hand. As the man who touches them arms himself with iron and the shaft of a spear, they are utterly consumed with fire. These are the names of the mighty men whom David had: Joshua, Basabeth, Tachmonite. He was chief of the three. He wielded his spear against 800, whom he killed at one time. And next to him among the three mighty men was Elsa, the son of David, son of Ahohi. He was with David, and they defied the Philistines, who were gathered there for battle, and the men of Israel withdrew. He rose and struck down the Philistines until his hand was weary, and his hand clung to the sword. And the Lord brought about a great victory that day. And the men returned after him, only to strip the slain. And next to him was Shammah, the son of Agi the Hararite. The Philistines gathered together at Lehi. There was a plot of ground full of lentils, and the men fled from the Philistines. And he took his stand in the midst of the plot and defended it, and struck down the Philistines. And the Lord worked a great victory. And 3 of the 30 chief men went down and came about harvest time to David at the cave of Adullam, when a band of Philistines was encamped in the valley of Rephaim. David was then in the stronghold, and the garrison of the Philistines was then at Bethlehem. And David said longingly, "Oh, that someone would give me water to drink from the well of Bethlehem that is by the gate." And the 3 mighty men broke through the camp of the Philistines and drew water out of the well of Bethlehem that was by the gate, and carried it and brought it to David. But he would not drink of it. He poured it out to the Lord and said, "Far be it from me, O Lord, that I should do this. Shall I drink the blood of the men who went at the risk of their lives?" Therefore he would not drink it. These things the 3 mighty men did. Now Abishai, the brother of Joab, the son of Zeruiah, was chief of the 30, and he wielded his spear against 300 men and killed them, and won a name beside the 3. He was the most renowned of the 30, and became their commander, but he did not attain to the 3. And Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, was a valiant man of Tabzeel, and a doer of great deeds. And he struck down 2 Ariels of Moab. He also went down and struck down a lion in the pit on the day when snow had fallen, and he struck down an Egyptian, a handsome man. The Egyptian had a spear in his hand, but Benaiah went down to him with a staff and snatched the spear out of the Egyptian's hand, and killed him with his own spear. These things did Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, and won a name beside the 3 mighty men. He was renowned among the 30. He did not attain to the 3. Then David set him over his bodyguard. Asahel, the brother of Joab, was one of the 30. Elhanan, the son of Dodo of Bethlehem, Shammah of Harah, Elika of Harah, Helaz the Palatite, then Ira, the son of Ikesh of Tekoa, Abizer of Anathoth, Mebanai the Hushathite, Salmon the Ahohite, Maharai of Netopha, Heleb, son of Baana of Netopha, Itai, the son of Ribai of Gibeah of the people of Benjamin, Benaiah of Pirathon, Hirai of the brooks of Gash, Abiobon the Arbathite, Asmavis of Bahurim, Elibah the Shalbanite, the sons of Jashin and Jonathan, Shammah the Hararite, Ahian the son of Sharah the Hararite, Eliphalet the son of Ahasbai of Maacah, Elian the son of Ahithophel the Gilonite, Hezrah of Carmel, Pararai the Arbai, Igor the son of Nathan of Jezobah, Bani the Gadite, Solek the Ammonites, Naharai of Beeroth, the armor-bearer of Joab the son of Zeruiah, Ira the Ithrite, Gareb the Ithrite, Uriah the Hittite, and 37 in all. Again, the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel, and he incited David against them, saying, "Can I number Israel and Judah?" So the king said to Joab, the commander of the army, who was with him, "Go through the tribes of Israel, from Dan to Beersheba, and then number the people, that I may know the number of the people." Joab said to the king, "May the Lord your God add to the people 100 times as many as they are." All the eyes of my lord the king still see, and why does my lord the king delight in this thing? If the king's word prevailed against Joab and the commanders of the army, so Joab and the commanders of the army went out from the presence of the king to number the people of Israel. They crossed the Jordan and began from Aroer, and from the sea that is in the middle of the valley, toward Gad and on to Jazer. And they came to Gilead and to Kadesh in the land of the Hittites. And they came to Dan, and from Dan they went around to Sidon, and came to the fortress at Tyre, and to all the cities of the Hivites and Canaanites. And they came out of the Negev to the Negev of Judah at Beersheba. And when they had gone through all the land, they came to Jerusalem, and It came to Jerusalem at the end of 9 months, and 120 days. And Joab came to sum up the number of the men of people to the king. In Israel there were 800,000 valiant men in Jerusalem, and the men of Judah were 500,000. David's heart struck him after he had numbered the people, and David said to the Lord, I have sinned greatly in what I have done. Now, Lord, please take away the iniquity of my servant, for I have done very foolishly. And when David arose in the morning, the Lord came to the prophet of God, David saying, Go and say to David, Thus says the Lord, 3 things are after you. Choose one of them, that I may do it to you. So God came to David and told him, and said, Shall 3 years of famine come to you in your land? Will you flee 3 months before your foes, while they pursue? Or shall there be 3 days pestilence in the land? Now consider and decide what answer I shall return to him who sent me. And David said to God, I am in great distress. Let us fall into the hand of the Lord, for his mercy is great. But let me not fall into the hand of man. So the Lord sent a pestilence on Israel from the morning until the appointed time. And there died of the people from Dan to Beersheba 70,000 men. And when the angel stretched out his hand toward Jerusalem to destroy, the Lord relented from the calamity and said to the angel who was working destruction among the people, It is enough. Now stay your hand. And the angel of the Lord was by the threshing floor of Araunah, the Jebusite. And David spake to the Lord. The Lord, when he saw the angel who was striking the people, and said, Behold, I have sinned, and I have done wickedly, but these sheep, what have they done? They let your hand be against me and against my father's house. And God came that day to David and said to him, Go out, raise an altar to the Lord in the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite. So David went out at Gad's square as the Lord commanded. And when Araunah looked down, he saw the king and his servants coming on toward him. And Araunah went out and paid homage to the king with his face to the ground. And Araunah said, Why has my lord the king come to his servant? David said, To buy the threshing floor from me, in order to build an altar to the Lord, that the plague may be averted from the people. Then Araunah said to David, Let my lord the king take up and offer what seemed good to him. Here the oxen for the burnt offering, and the threshing sledges, and the yokes of the oxen for the wood. All this, O king, Araunah gives to the king. And Araunah said to the king, Has the Lord your God accept you? But the king said to Araunah, No, but I will buy it from you for a price. And he would not offer burnt offerings to the Lord my God that cost me nothing. So David bought the threshing floor and the oxen for 50 shekels of silver. And David built an altar to the Lord and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings. So the Lord responded to the plea for the man, and the plague was averted from Israel. 1 Kings 1-3. Now King David was old and advanced in years, and though they covered him with clothes, he could not get warm. Therefore 7 said to him, Let a young woman be sought for my lord the king, and let her wait on the king and be in his service. Let her lie in your arms, that my lord the king may be warm. So they sought her for a beautiful young woman throughout all the territory of Israel, and found her Abishai the Shunammite, and brought her to the king. The young woman was very beautiful, and she was of service to the king, and attended to him, so that the king knew her not. Now Adonijah the son of Haggith exalted himself, saying, I will be king. And he prepared for himself chariots and horsemen, and 50 men to run before him. His father had never at any time displeased him by asking, Why have you done thus and so? He was also a very handsome man, and he was born next after Absalom. He confirmed with Joab the son of Zeruiah and with Abiathar the priest, and they followed Adonijah and helped him. But Zadok the priest and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and Nathan the prophet, and Shimei, and Ray, and David's mighty men were not with Adonijah. And Adonijah sacrificed sheep, oxen, and fattened cattle by the serpent's stone, which is beside Amreg, and he invited all his brothers, and king's sons, all the royal officials of Judah. But he did not invite Nathan the prophet of Benaiah, or the mighty men of Solomon his brother. And Nathan said to Bathsheba the mother of Solomon, Have you not heard that Adonijah the son of Haggith has become king, and David our Lord does not know? Now therefore come, and let me give you advice, so that you may save your own life and the life of your son Solomon. And go at once to King David and say to him, Did you not, my lord the king, swear to your son, saying, Solomon your son shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne? Why then is Adonijah king? And while you are still speaking with the king, I also will come in after you and confirm your words. So Bathsheba went into the king in his chamber, and Bathsheba bowed and paid homage to the king. And the king said, What do you desire? She said to him, My lord, you swore to your servant that by the Lord your God, saying, Solomon your son shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne. He shall sit on my throne. And now behold, Adonijah is king. And third, although you, my lord the king, do not know, he sacrificed oxen, fattened cattle, and sheep in abundance, and has invited all the sons of the king, Abiathar the priest, and Joab the commander of the army. The son of Yosef he is not invited. And now, my lord the king, the eyes of all Israel are on you, to tell them who shall sit on the throne of my lord the king after. Otherwise it will come to pass when my lord the king sleeps with his father, and that I and my son Solomon will be kind of offended. While she was still speaking with the king, and Nathan the prophet came in, and they told the king, where is Nathan the prophet? And he came in before the king. He bowed before the king, and raised his face to the ground. And Nathan said, my lord the king, have you said, Adonijah shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne? But he is gone down this day, and has sacrificed oxen and fattened cattle, and sheep in abundance, and has invited all the king's sons, the commanders of the army, and Abiathar the priest. And behold, they are eating and drinking before him, saying, long live King Adonijah. But me, your servant, Zadok the priest, and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and your servant Solomon, he is not invited. Has this thing been brought about by my lord the king, and you have not told your servant who should sit on the throne of my lord the king after him? And David called Bathsheba to me. So she came into the king's presence and stood before the king. And the king swore, saying, as the Lord lives, who has redeemed my soul out of every adversary, as I swore to you by the Lord, the God of Israel, saying, Solomon your son shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne in my place. Even so will I do this day. And Bathsheba bowed with her face to the ground, and paid homage to the king, and said, may my lord King David live forever. King David said, call to me Zadok the priest, Nathan the prophet, and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada. So they came before the king. And the king said to him, take with you the scepter of your lord, and have Solomon my son ride on my mule, and bring him down to Gihon, and let Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet there anointed king over Israel. Then blow the trumpet and say, long live King Solomon. You shall then come up after him, and he shall come and sit on my throne. But he shall be king in my place, and I have appointed him to be ruler over Israel and over Judah. And Benaiah the son of Jehoiada answered the king, amen. May the Lord the God of my lord the king stay so as the Lord has been with my lord the king. And even so may he be with Solomon, and make his throne greater than the throne of my lord King David. And Zadok the priest, Nathan the prophet, and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and the Cherethites and the Pelethites went down, and had Solomon ride on King David's mule, and brought him to Gihon. There Zadok the priest took the horn of oil from the tent, and anointed Solomon. And they blew the trumpet, and all the people said, long live King Solomon. And all the people went up after him, playing on pipes and rejoicing with great joy. And that the earth was split with quite a noise. And Adonijah and all the guests after him who were with him heard it as they finished feasting. And when Joab heard the sound of the trumpet, he said, what does this uproar in the city mean? While he was still speaking, behold, Jonathan the son of Abiathar the priest came. And Adonijah said, come here, for you are a worthy man and bring good news. And Jonathan answered Adonijah, no, for our Lord King David has made Solomon king. And the king has sent with him Zadok the priest, Nathan the prophet. And Nathan the prophet have anointed him king by him. And they have gone up from there rejoicing, so that the sea is in an uproar. This is the noise that you have heard. Solomon sits on the royal throne, and moreover the king's servants came to congratulate our Lord King David, saying, may our God make the name of Solomon more famous than yours, and may his throne be his throne greater than yours. And the king found himself on the bed. And the king also said, blessed be the Lord, the God of Israel, who has granted someone to sit on my throne. Sit on the throne. This day. And I sing. And all the guests of Adonijah trembled and arose, and each one his own way. And Adonijah feared Solomon. So he arose and went, and took hold of the horns of the altar. And it was told Solomon, behold, Adonijah feared Solomon, King Solomon. But behold, he has laid hold of the horns of the altar, saying, that King Solomon swore to me first that he will not put his servant to death with the sword. Someone said, if he'll show himself a worthy man, no one of his hairs shall fall to the earth, but if wickedness is found in him, he shall die. And so King Solomon said, and they brought him down from the altar, and the king paid homage to King Solomon. And Solomon said to him, go to your house. And David is trying to deliver Junior. He commanded his son Solomon, his son, saying, I am about to go the way of all the earth. Be strong and show yourself a man. And keep the charge of the Lord, walking in his ways and keeping his statutes, his commandments, his rules, and his testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses, that you may prosper in all that you do and wherever you turn. That the Lord may establish his word that he spoke concerning me, saying, if your sons pay close attention to their way, to walk before me in faithfulness, with all their heart and with all their soul, you shall not lack a man who on the throne of Israel. Moreover, you also know what Joab the son of Zeruiah did to me, how he dealt with the two commanders of the armies of Israel, Abner the son and Amasa the son of Jether, whom he killed, avenging in time of peace for blood that had been shed in war, and putting the blood of war on the belt around his waist and on the sandals of his feet. Act therefore according to your wisdom, but do not let his grey hair go down to Sheol in peace, but deal loyally with the sons of Barzillai the Gileadite, and let them be among those who eat at your table. For with such loyalty they met me when I fled from Absalom and your brother. And there is also with you Shimei the son of Gera, a Benjaminite from Bethlehem, who cursed me with a grievous curse on the day. And I went to Mahanaim. Lord, he went down to meet me at the Jordan. And I swore to him by the Lord, saying, I will not put you to death with the sword. Now therefore do not hold him guiltless, for you are a wise man. You will know what you ought to do, and you shall bring his grey head down with blood to Sheol. And David slept with his fathers and was buried in the city of David. And the time that David reigned over Israel was 40 years. He reigned 7 years in Hebron and 30 years, except 3 years in Jerusalem. So Solomon sat on the throne of David his father, and his kingdom was firmly established. And Adonijah son of Haggith came to Bathsheba the mother of Solomon, and she said, do you come peacefully? He said, peacefully. And he said, I have something to say to you. She said, speak. He said, you know that the kingdom was mine, and that all Israel fully expected me to reign. However, the king has turned it about and become my brother's, but it was his from the Lord. And now I have one request to make of you. Do not refuse me. She said, speak. He said, please ask King Solomon, he will not refuse you, to give me Abishag the Shunammite as my wife. Bathsheba said, very well, I will speak for you to the king. And Bathsheba went to King Solomon. I should speak on behalf of Adonijah. And the king rose to meet her and bowed down to him. And he sat on his throne and had a seat brought for the king's mother. And she sat on his right, and she said, I have one small request to make for you. Do not refuse me. And the king said to her, make your request, my mother, for I will not refuse you. He said, let it be. She said, let Abishag the Shunammite be given to Adonijah your brother as his wife. King Solomon answered his brother, and why do you ask Abishag the Shunammite for Adonijah? That's him for the kingdom, I said, for he is my older brother, and on whose side I will be a father priest, and Joab the son of Zeruiah. And King Solomon swore by the Lord, saying, God do so to me, and more if this word does not cost Adonijah his life. Now therefore, as the Lord lives, who has established me, and placed me on the throne of David my father, and who has made me a house, as he promised, Adonijah shall be put to death today. So King Solomon sent Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and he struck him down, and he died. And Abiathar the priest said, go to Anathoth, to your estate, for you deserve death. But I will not at this time put you to death, because you carried the ark of the Lord God up before David my father, and because you stand here in all my father's affliction. So Solomon expelled Abiathar from being priest to fulfilling the word of the Lord that he had spoken. He had spoken concerning the house of Eli and Shiloh. And the news came to Joab, for Joab supported over Adonijah. Although he had not supported Absalom, Joab fled to the tent of the Lord and caught hold of the horns of the altar. And when it was told King Solomon, Joab has fled to the tent of the Lord, saying, behold, he is beside the altar. So Solomon sent Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, saying, go, strike him down. So Benaiah came to the tent of the Lord. And behold, he is beside the altar. Solomon said Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, saying, Go and strike on this. So Benaiah came to the tent of the Lord and said to the king, commands, come out. And he said, No, I will die here. And Benaiah brought the king word against this. Thus said Joe, and he answered me. And thus he answered me. And the king replied to him, Do as he said, strike him down and bury him. And thus take away from me and my father's house the guilt for the blood that Joe shed, but without cause. The Lord will bring back his bloody deeds on his own head. Because without the knowledge of my father David, he took and killed with his sword 2 men more righteous and better than himself. Abner the son of Ner, commander of the army of Israel, and Amasa the son of Jephthah, commander of the army of Judah. So shall their blood come back on the head of Joab and the head of his descendants forever. But for David and for his descendants, and for his house and for his throne, there shall be peace from the Lord forevermore. And Benaiah the son of Jehoiada went out and struck him down, and put him to death, and he was buried in his own house in the wilderness. The king put Benaiah the son of Jehoiada over the army in place of Joab. And the king put Zadok the priest in place of Abiathar. And the king said and summoned Shimei and said to him, Build yourself a house in Jerusalem and dwell there, and don't go out from there to any place wherever. For on the day you go to cross the brook Kidron, know for certain that you shall die. Your blood shall be on your own head. And Shimei said to him, What you say is good, as my lord the king said. So will serve and do. So Shimei lived in Jerusalem many days. It happened at the end of 3 years that 2 of Shimei's servants ran away to Achish, son of Maacah, king of Gath. And the others told Shimei, Behold, your servants are in Gath. Shimei arose and sat on a donkey and went to Gath and to Achish to seek his servants. Shimei went and brought his servants from Gath. And when Solomon was told that Shimei had gone from Jerusalem to Gath and returned, the king sent and summoned Shimei and said to him, Did I not make you swear by the Lord, as Solomon warned you, say, And if I said that on the day you go to any place, whatever you shall die. And you said to me, what you say is good, and I will obey. I then have you not kept your eyes unto the Lord, and the commandment with which I command you. The king also said to Shimei, You know in your own heart all the harm you did to David my father. So the Lord will bring back your harm on your own head. And King Solomon shall be blessed, and the throne of David shall be established with the Lord forever. And the king commanded Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, and he went out and struck him down, and he died. So the king was established in the hand of Solomon. Solomon made a marriage alliance with Pharaoh, king of Egypt. He took Pharaoh's daughter and brought her into the city of David until he had finished building his own house, and the house of the Lord, and the wall around Jerusalem. The people were sacrificing at the high places, however, because no house had yet been built for the name of the Lord. Solomon loved the Lord, walking in the statutes of David's father, and only sacrificed and made offerings at the high places. And the king went to Gibeon to sacrifice there. And that was the great high place. So Solomon used to offer 1,000 offerings on the altar. And Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream by night. And God said, Ask what I shall give you. And Solomon said, You have shown great and steadfast love to your servant David my father, because he walked in before you in faithfulness and righteousness and the uprightness of heart toward you, and you have kept for him this great and steadfast love and given him a son to sit on his throne this day. And now, O Lord my God, I made 7 kings in place of David my father, and although I am but a little child, I do not know how to go out or come in. Then 7 is in the list of your people, whom you have chosen, a great people. To me to be numbered or counted for multitude, you give yourself therefore an understanding mind to govern your people. I may discern between good and evil. Or who is able to govern this your great people? It pleased the Lord that Solomon had asked this, and God said to him, Because you have asked this and have not asked for yourself long life or riches or the life of your enemies, but have asked for yourself understanding to discern what is right, behold, I now do according to your word. Behold, I give you a wise and discerning mind, so that none like you have been before you, and none like you shall arise after you. I give you also what you have not asked, both riches and honor, and that no other king shall compare with you all your days. And if you will walk in my ways, keeping my statutes and my commandments, as your father David walked, then I will lengthen your days. And Solomon awoke, and behold, it was a dream. And he came to Jerusalem and stood before the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and offered up burnt offerings and peace offerings, and made a feast for all statues. And 2 prostitutes came to the king and stood before him. And one said, O Lord, O my Lord, this woman and I are living in the same house, and I gave birth to a child while she was in the house. And on the third day after I gave birth, this woman also gave birth, and we were alone. There was no one else with us in the house. Finally, we two were in the house, and the son died in because he left, and she rose and took my son from beside me while he still slept, and laid him at her breast, and laid my dead son at my breast, her dead son at my breast. And I arose in the morning to nurse my child. Behold, he was dead. When I looked at him closely in the morning, behold, he was the child I bore. But the other woman said, No, the living child is mine, and the dead child is yours. The first said, No, the dead child is yours, and the living child is mine. Thus they spake before the king. Then the king says, The one says, This is my son that is alive, and that your son is dead. Your son is dead. And the other says, No, but your son is dead, and my son is the living one. And the king said, Bring me a sword. So a sword was brought before the king, and the king said, Divide the living child in two, and give half to the one and half to the other. And the woman whose son was alive said to the king, Because her heart yearned for her son, and my lord, give her the living child, and by no means put him to death. But the other said, He shall be neither mine nor yours, divide him. And the king answered and said, Give the living child to the first woman, and by no means put him to death. She is his mother. And all Israel heard the judgment that the king had rendered, and they stood in awe of the king, because they perceived that the wisdom of God was in him to do justice. Proverbs 16. The plans of the heart belong to man, but the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. All the ways of a man are pure in his own eyes, but the Lord will speak. Commit your work to the Lord, and your plans will be established. The Lord has made everything for its purpose, even the wicked for the day of trouble. Everyone who is arrogant in his heart is an abomination to the Lord. Be assured, he will not go unpunished. By steadfast love and faithfulness, iniquity is atoned for. And by the fear of the Lord, one turns away from evil. And a man's ways please the Lord. He makes even his enemies to be at peace with him. There is little with righteousness, and great revenues with injustice. The heart of man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps. An oracle is on the lips of a king, his mouth does not sin in judgment. A just answer and to gales are the Lord's. All the weight in the bag is work. It is an abomination to kings to do evil, for the throne is established by righteousness. Righteous lips are the delight of a king, and he loves him who speaks what is right. A king's wrath is a messenger of death, and a wise man will appease. In the life of a king's faith there is life, and his favor is like the clouds that bring the spring rain. How much better to get wisdom than gold, to get understanding is to be chosen rather than silver. The highway of the right turns aside from evil. Whoever guards his way preserves his life. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. It is better to lead a lowly spirit with the poor, and to divide the spoil with the proud. Whoever gives thought to the word will discover it, and blessed is he who trusts in the Lord. The wise of heart is called discerning, and his sweetness of speech includes his persuasiveness. Good sense is a fountain of life to him who has it, but the instruction of fools is folly. And the heart of the wise makes the speech judicious, and adds persuasiveness to his lips. The gracious words are like honeycomb, sweetness and sweetness to the soul, and health to the body. There is a way that seems right to a man, and its end is the way to death. The work his appetite works for him, and his mouth urges him on. And the word of the man plots evil, and his speech is like a scorching fire. A dishonest man spreads strife, and a whisperer separates close friends. A man of violence entices his neighbor, and leads him in a way that is not good. Whoever winks his eyes plans dishonest things. He who pursues his evil brings evil to pass. Gray hair is a crown of glory. Whoever is gained in a righteous life. Whoever is slow to anger is better than the mighty. And he who rules his spirit than he who takes a seat. And the Lord is cast into the life, but his every decision is from the Lord. So, Psalm 140. Deliver me, O Lord, from evil men. Preserve me from violent men who plan things in their heart. Evil things in their hearts start wars continually. They make their tongues sharp as serpents, and under their lips is the venom of asps. Guard me, O Lord, from the hands of the wicked, who preserve me from violent men who have planned to trip on my feet. Arrogant have hidden a trap for me, and with cause they have spread a net. Beside the way they have set snares for me. I say to the Lord, You are my God. Give ear to the voice of my pleas for mercy. Lord, my Lord, the strength of my salvation. You have covered my head in the day of battle. Grant not, O Lord, the desires of the wicked. Do not further the evil plot, or they will be exalted. As for the head of those who surround me, and let the mischief of their lips overwhelm me. Let burning coals fall upon them. Let them be cast into fire, into miry pits, and no more to rise. Let not slander be established in the land. Let evil hunt down the violent man speedily. I know that the Lord will maintain the cause of the afflicted, and will execute justice for the needy. I know that the Lord will maintain the cause of the afflicted, and will execute justice for the needy. And surely the righteous shall give thanks to your name. The upright shall dwell in your presence. Now let's stand as you now do the Lord's Prayer. Please bow your heads, O Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our debts as we receive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. See you tomorrow. Bye.